Arsène Wenger breaks his silence on the controversial Barcelona-Real Madrid clash, but what's really making headlines is the explosive new revelation about Lamine Yamal in El Clásico, something nobody saw coming. What happened is simply unbelievable. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel because we're diving right into the controversies of this match and revealing the referee and VAR audio. El Clásico between Real Madrid and Barcelona was filled with tension, controversy, and highly questionable officiating. Referee Soto Grado and the VAR were at the center of attention, and not in a good way. Among all of Soto Grado's decisions, 3 stood out the most: the non-existent penalty awarded to Real Madrid in the play between Lamine Yamal and Vinicius Jr, Mbappé's offside goal that was incorrectly allowed to stand, and the handball penalty against Eric Garcia, first ignored, then confirmed by VAR. All 3 required corrections. Yet, ironically, the clearest penalty of the match, Carvajal's shove on Araujo in the 92nd minute, wasn't even reviewed. Neither Soto Grado on the field nor VAR official Iglesias Villanueva deemed the obvious foul by the Spaniard on the Uruguayan worthy of intervention. At the 12-minute mark, Mbappé received the ball between the lines and scored past Szczesny. The problem? He was clearly offside. Even so, the assistant kept his flag down and only VAR corrected the mistake without needing an on-field review. Moments later, another questionable call. Bellingham's goal came right after a clear foul by Huijsen on Cubarsí. The Madrid defender hit the young Barca player in the face with his elbow, knocking him down. The referee ignored it, and surprisingly, VAR didn't step in either. Later, the ball deflected off Eric Garcia's arm inside the box. Soto Grado initially gave a corner kick, but VAR called him over, and in the broadcast audio, you could hear the exchange. VAR: Cesar, I recommend a review for a possible handball penalty. Soto Grado approaches the monitor while VAR adds, I'll show you the hand position. In my opinion, it's punishable. Then I'll show you the full action so you can evaluate it. As Soto watches, he says, Okay, it hits there, then a second deflection there. Show me another angle from behind. Now a wide one so I can see if there's a player behind. They show him, and he concludes, Stop it there. That hand position is way too high. It first bounces off Eric, then off Bellingham, and from there the ball is going that way. That arm position is too high, as we discussed in the seminar. It's covering space. I'm calling a penalty. Even so, the inconsistency was obvious, since Carvajal's push on Araujo, a much clearer foul, got no review at all. At 92 minutes, Araujo tried to reach a long ball from Casado, but was shoved from behind by Carvajal. The Uruguayan fell, the referee waved play on and even gestured for him to get up. The replay clearly showed the push, but unlike the handball on Eric Garcia, VAR stayed silent and play continued. Meanwhile, Vinicius Jr made headlines again, not for his football, but for his behavior. Substituted by Xabi Alonso in the 72nd minute, the Brazilian stormed off in anger, shouting and gesturing toward his coach. He went straight to the locker room and, 6 minutes later, came back to the bench still visibly furious. This isn't the first clash between the two. Vinicius openly challenged Xabi Alonso in front of the entire Santiago Bernabeu after seeing his number appear on the substitution board, mimicking Mario Balotelli's famous reaction, "Why always me?" What's ironic is that Real Madrid were winning, playing well, and on the verge of securing 3 crucial points in the La Liga race. But none of that seemed to matter to Vinicius. He made sure to steal the spotlight, not with goals or assists, but with gestures and attitude, something that, sadly, has become one of his trademarks. The scene caused a stir in the Spanish press. On El Tertulión, journalist Mónica Marchante criticized, I get the feeling he was challenging the coach right in front of the crowd, in front of the entire Bernabeu. He was asking the fans to take sides. If that scene happens away from the Bernabeu, it's different, but doing that there and in a Clásico is unacceptable. Ciro Lopez added, he's managed to make us talk about his childishness and stupidity instead of celebrating the win. If there were still any doubts, El Clásico made it clear Vinicius is not handling his loss of spotlight to Kylian Mbappé and Jude Bellingham well. While the Frenchman and the Englishman were praised by fans and showed composure and leadership, the Brazilian once again stood out for his temper. The contrast became even clearer at the end of the game. While Mbappé and Bellingham stayed away from the chaos, Vinicius was one of the first to reignite a scuffle with Lamine Yamal, reopening tensions between the two squads. Furious, Vinicius confronted the youngster, who fired back, and it all ended in a shoving match between both teams. Police had to step in to separate the players. Rafinha jumped in to defend Lamine against a raging Vinicius, who looked ready to get physical. While Mbappé and Bellingham showed leadership and emotional control, Vinicius once again embodied instability and arrogance. Even though Bellingham later responded to Lamine on Instagram, which we'll show you in a moment, Vinny didn't just clash with Yamal. Pedri and Ferran also got caught up in his bad temper. Pedri was protesting a call from Sotogrado when Vinicius stepped in, saying, "He's not the captain, he's not the captain," referring to Pedri's lack of authority to talk to the referee. "Can I talk?" he added, and when Pedri pulled him aside, Vinicius snapped back, "Don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me, he's always talking, as Bellingham tried to drag him away. Ferran then stepped in to calm things down, but Vinicius kept going. "He's always talking, always. Talk here, he said, pointing to the field, before finally shouting, "Cry baby!" Nothing new for him, unfortunately. Dani Carvajal and Thibaut Courtois confronted Yamal about his comments, while Jude Bellingham took to social media, writing, "Talk is cheap," which delighted fans. Vinicius Jr. in turn replied, "Incredible." Raul Asensio also seemed to throw some subtle shade at Lamine. The defender posted a cryptic Instagram story right after the match ended. Alongside a photo of himself, Asensio added 4 talking head emojis, widely interpreted as a reference to Yamal's pre-match remarks. These posts were a clear sign of how much resentment Real Madrid's players still hold toward Lamine Yamal. After all, the 17-year-old absolutely destroyed Madrid last season. 4 games, 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 goal contributions, G+A. He punished them so badly that it's no surprise they're now celebrating as if it were long-awaited revenge. Frenkie de Jong came to Lamine's defense. "It was all blown out of proportion. If you know Lamine and think he shouldn't have said those things, you'd call him privately," he said, referring to Carvajal. "Besides, it's not that big of a deal. I didn't hear Lamine saying Madrid were blatantly cheating. If we're not alert, they counterattack and create danger. We need to create more chances and improve. We competed, but it wasn't enough. In the second half, we controlled the game more but lacked danger and clear opportunities." I completely agree with Frenkie de Jong. Carvajal's reaction was way over the top. He's Lamine's teammate on the Spanish national team, so the sensible thing would have been to talk to him in the tunnel or call him later, not make a whole scene on the field. Everyone saw that it was Carvajal who started the argument. Ronald Araujo said, "We'll see. I'm not going to talk about Lamine today. I'll just say he's a great professional, and we're happy to have him with us. He's old enough to know what he has to do. I don't know what happened. I just went in to separate them." How Madrid reacts to Lamine's pre-Clásico comments doesn't matter to me. That's their problem. Lamine Yamal's performance in El Clásico was heavily criticized, not only because of the high standards he's set for himself, but also because of his provocative comments before the match, which only increased the pressure on his shoulders. Usually, when Yamal makes bold statements like that, he backs them up on the field. But this time was different. Over 90 minutes, Yamal had a quiet game. He completed only 50% of his dribbles, made 55 passes, and delivered just 1 dangerous cross, the one where Koundé was wide open in the box but decided to chest the ball instead of heading it, wasting the chance. Koundé missed the best opportunity to equalize after a long pass from Lamine, failing to finish one-on-one with Courtois. It was an unusual night for the 17-year-old prodigy, but now we know why. According to El Chiringuito TV, Yamal still isn't 100% fit and hasn't fully recovered from the pubalgia that sidelined him in recent weeks. The outlet revealed that Yamal played El Clásico while dealing with pain from that injury, which explains his underwhelming performance. The condition limits acceleration and quick changes of direction, both key elements of his playing style. "You only pass sideways," Vinicius shouted at him before adding, "You talk too much. Talk now." But the truth is, Lamine was playing through pain. During the match, he even showed visible discomfort and reportedly asked teammates to avoid passing the ball to him too often. Given that, Hansi Flick will likely choose to rest him in the coming games to ensure a full recovery. At just 18, dips in form are inevitable. October might have been chaotic for Yamal, but it's part of his development, a tough learning curve every young star has to go through before reaching the top. Legendary former Arsenal manager Arsène Wenger commented on yesterday's El Clásico, praising Real Madrid's defensive organization and composure. According to Wenger, the match clearly exposed the physical and tactical maturity gap between the two teams. El Clásico was a bit like men against boys. Real Madrid's defense was much stronger than Barcelona's. In attack, Madrid always looked like they could score, while Barcelona seemed ineffective. They had a lot of possession but never really looked like scoring, he said. Despite Hansi Flick's side-dominating possession for long stretches, they struggled to create real danger against Madrid's defense. Between questionable refereeing decisions, debatable calls, and heated tempers, this match will be remembered not just for the result, but for the chaos both on and off the pitch. Share your thoughts on the game in the comments below.